Well, let's find out more by chatting with personal financial blogger and investment storyteller, Mas Dani Rachmat. Good morning, Mas Dani.
Hi, good morning, Paul.
Hi, thank you for joining us here on the C Morning Show. Good to see you again. So, listen, can you tell us, first off, tell us a little bit more about these retail government bonds in Indonesia?
Yes, ORI stands for the Obligasi Retail Negara, Indonesian government bond that is only sold to retail investors. Previously, us retail investor cannot invest directly to government bonds. While we know that, as you mentioned earlier, government bond is the safest instrument out there in the market that we can choose if our risk profile is conservative. Through this retail government bond, we can get the safe instrument for our future investment.
Well, Mas Dani Dirza here, what separates retail state bond or ORI from other government bonds like retail state sukuk or SR and saving bonds retail or SBR? Can you elaborate?
Yes. Yeah, for SBR, actually they are the same retail bonds from government that can be bought by us, retail investor. But what makes difference between ORI and SBR is that for saving bond retails, it is not tradable in the market. While ORI, we can trade the bonds in the market, in the secondary market. The primary market is where we buy the ORI for the first time, and SBR when it is offered by government. But then when investor need money prior to the maturity of the bonds, for ORI, we can sell it directly into the secondary market. While for SBR, we have to wait minimum 1 year out of this 2 years period of the maturity. And then for SBR, after 1 year, we can redeem partially to the government. So that is what makes the difference. And then the coupon for ORI, it is fixed rate. While for SBR, it is using floating rate according following the interest rate. Acuan, suku bunga acuan.
Okay.
In the market, so that SBR interest rate coupon will change variously depend on the interest rate in the market. While for ORI, it will be fixed rate until the maturity of the bond.
Okay, so how does this actually work? I mean, you mentioned the term is 3 years. How does this? Does it work similar to what we would normally put in a term deposit or any other kind of fixed rate investment?
Actually, yes. There is no much different unless the period is way longer. For time deposit, we can put it like only 1 month to maybe 1 year if you want to.
Sure.
But for ORI, we have to hold it until 3 years if you want to have the safety in the instrument. But if you need money, as I mentioned before the maturity of the bond, you can always sell it into the secondary market. While if you want to sell it in the secondary market, the price in the market will change variously depending on the reference interest rate that is in the market at that moment. It can the price of your bond can be higher than previously you buy, or maybe lower. That is the risk investing in ORI actually, because the longer tenor of the investment.
So who would you be selling to in this secondary market? Would it be people like us who didn't get in when it was first released, and maybe you're looking, you really wanted to invest it in any way, and you found somebody who's trying to sell it? Can you actually sell it from retail to retail?
Yes. For ORI, actually, who can buy ORI in the secondary market is not only for retails. Many institutional investors can also buy ORI in the secondary market. Because as we know that ORI period is not that long. Actually, government bond for institutional can be up to 10 to maybe 20 or 30 years, while ORI is only 3 years, right? While the coupon is way higher than the time deposit interest rate. So that so many people, when in the primary market, they want to buy, like, they have so much money that they want to buy more than the maximum amount of 2 billion. But then they can only buy up until 2 billion.
Oh, okay.
So they have to buy only up to 2 billion. So the rest of their money, they will buy it in the secondary market.
Oh, there's a
It's
cap.
still better than putting the money, maybe if you have 5 billion rupiah, it is still better to buy ORI rather than putting in the time deposit, right, for 5 billion rupiah.
Right. Especially at the interest rate right now for the term deposits are quite low.
Very low.
Yes.
What was the interest rates for ORI 20, which was issued last year?
For ORI 20, it was 4.95% before tax. While for tax for ORI starting September last year, it is only 10% compared to time deposit, which still 20% for the interest rate. So the interest rate is already half lower than time deposit.
That's an incentive as well, right? Yeah.
Can you give us the drawdown comparing
Yes.
term deposits and ORI? What's the pros and cons here?
If you put in time deposit, if you want flexibility and you can use your money anytime you want, time deposit is obvious choice. But if you want more security and then more profit, ORI is better choice. Why? Because in time deposit, yes, it is guaranteed by government via LPS, Lembaga Penjamin Simpanan Deposit Insurance Agency. But then for ORI, you don't get the security. You don't get the guarantee from government. Why? Government doesn't guarantee ORI? Because government directly issue the ORI. And government never failed at meeting their obligation, paying off their debt. So it is safer, obviously, than time deposit. But then if you want flexibility, as I mentioned before, you have to wait until 3 years, or you have to face the price volatility risk for ORI. So that is the option that you have to consider if you want to put your money into time deposit or maybe in ORI.
Okay.
For me, myself, I will never put my money in time deposit because it is so low right now.
Right.
Even if you have 2.5% interest rate, which is considered high for time deposit at the moment, you still get like 2% net for your time deposit. While for ORI, if you got 4.3%, maybe 3%, you still get 2.7% net after tax,
Right.
because the tax is only 10% for ORI.
So that makes a huge difference already. So what are some of the factors or some of the reasons that ORI prices can change? Or what are some of the things that happen that allows this fluctuation of the price?
The most important factor affecting the price of ORI is reference interest rate, suku bunga acuan.
Okay.
If the reference interest rate is going up, so the price of ORI will go down. Why? Because people will choose to put their money into time deposit, because the difference between time deposit and ORI is lower when interest rate goes up. While people can put their money in time deposit in shorter period of time.
Right. They have that flexibility.
But then, yes, vice versa. If the interest rate goes down, the reference interest rate goes down, the time deposit in banks will go down, right? The difference between ORI interest rate, ORI coupon, and also time deposit interest rate will widen. With that, people will consider that I want a more safer investment, a safer investment with higher return. So the price of ORI will go up because many people will try to get their hands on ORI in the market compared to putting their money into time deposit, like current situation where interest rate is very low.
Right. Got it.
So the price could go up, but the interest rate will stay at the same rate?
Yes, interest rate will stay.
Okay. As a seasoned investor, do you think it's wise for, for us to put our money in ORI, or would you recommend people to just put it in the capital market?
Depend on your financial goal. I still use ORI for my financial cushion as part of my emergency fund. Yes, emergency fund, I put it in ORI. Why? Because it is very safe. Even though I still have to sell it into the secondary market, I still can get monthly income from ORI. So Ori is the best option if you want to put your money for shorter period of time. While for my longer financial goal in the future, like my pension fund and everything, I still choose capital market. So it is not whether Ori is good investment or not. It is a very good investment option, but depend on your goal.
Okay, and I guess our risk profile plays into that as well, I assume. Now, so
Yes.
this is happening in about a week's time on January the 24th. For those that are interested, what is the process? What do they need to prepare? Because we mentioned earlier that they are limiting this as well, and there's been previous times that Ori was released that people just couldn't get it because they were in such high demand. What are
Yes.
you, first of all, what are you expecting to happen this year? Will this similar thing happen where people are just going to, there's going to be a high demand for it, and what should investors do to prepare so they're able to get their hands on it?
Yes, of course. With a very, very low interest rate in the bank, many people will jump on Ori when government start to sell. Because, with 10% only tax and then obviously higher interest rate than time deposit, so many people with money in their hands will want Ori. So that if you want to buy Ori, just order as soon as possible before the quota runs out on every selling agent of Ori. Because for big banks like Bank Mandiri, BCA, BRI, they will close their selling over of Ori not so far from the opening date of the selling period,
Right.
of the offering period.
Yeah, so because it's assuming they've, how long are they selling it for? About I guess 3 weeks time, approximately 3 weeks. So yeah.
Yes.
And for like our tech-savvy viewers, is Ori accessible through apps? So we've seen like
Yes.
it is.
Yeah, if you want to order Ori, if you already use securities companies that is appointed by government or maybe financial technology company, they already sell the Ori during the offering period through their apps. Okay. So for the last couple of years, I've never gone to a bank once to buy Ori. I just ordered Ori from my financial technology application.
There you go, guys. So no excuse. I know Dirza's got about 2 billion burning a hole in his pocket, so I know what he's going to be doing on January 24th once the government starts issuing these. So, Mas Dani, thank you so much for your time, and a look ahead as to what's going to happen in about a week's time. So do take care, stay safe. We hope to talk to you again real soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Mas.
Thank you.